Want to know why? Ask. How? Howard, the humongous. Right now, Iran is leading the charge in Iraq to take back from ISIS the town of Tikrit, the home where Saddam Hussein was born. There is a strange and peculiar significance to the way that this attempt to retake Tikrit is going about. It is not being preceded by American airstrikes. It is not being led by the US-led coalition. It is being led by Iran. Once upon a time, Iran fooled the United States into believing there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Yes, why did we believe there were weapons of mass destruction? Why did Dick Cheney and George Bush and even Tony Blair believe that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? Because we had been fed defectors and paperwork by the head of Iranian intelligence proving that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and that they were aimed ultimately at us. Thus, the Iranians fooled us into doing something that they spent $1 million and 1 trillion lives over the course of 8 years trying to achieve, toppling Saddam Hussein from power and taking over Iraq. Instead of doing it themselves, when they discovered that they couldn't, they took the let's let Mikey do it approach. Feed the Americans a bunch of foolish misinformation and let the Americans spend $3 trillion to do it for you. Very clever. Ever since then, Iran has very slowly and very patiently been taking over Iraq. And the man in charge of taking over Iraq is Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani. Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani runs the Quds Force, the Jerusalem Force. What in the world is the Quds Force? It's a branch of the Iranian the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, its army. But it's a branch with a very peculiar mission. Its mission is to accumulate as many and seed as many proxy armies as possible throughout the Middle East and beyond. So it's the Quds Force under Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani that controls a total Iranian creation in Lebanon, Hezbollah. It's Soleimani who controls Hamas, a puppet force for the Iranians. It's Soleimani who has controlled between 2 and 3 proxy armies in Iraq ever since we were kind enough to topple Saddam Hussein. It's Soleimani who, according to the Saudis, basically controls the Houthis who have just taken over Yemen. Some viewers of these videos say, America has invaded country after country, but the Iranians have never invaded anyone. That's false. The Iranians simply do it using puppets. And it's the Iranians who have been behind the war in Syria. The Iranians and the Saudis. The Iranians have been allied with Bashar Assad, the ruler, who is also allied with Russia, Vladimir Putin. And the Saudis have been allied with the so-called rebels. But in reality, the Syrian civil war is a war between Iran and Saudi Arabia, and the man running things for the Iranians is Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani, which takes us back to the attempt to retake Tikrit from ISIS. The man personally there in Iraq, leading the charge of several of his proxy Shiite Iraqi armies, is Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani. It is the next step in a long, slow, patient takeover of Iraq by Iran. But that's not all Iran wants. Iran wants the entire Middle East. And then Iran wants the entire Muslim world. It's written into their constitution. That's a world that is 5 times the size of the Roman Empire and 7 times the size of the United States. And then Iran wants you and me. And then Iran wants the world. It's written into their constitution. It's in the quotes from Iran's founding father, modern, revolutionary Iran's founding father, who put the new nation together in 1979, the Ayatollah Khomeini, who says that it will be the duty of every good Muslim to go out and make war and kill the unbelievers in order to topple the apostate, in order to topple the unbelieving governments, especially of those barbarians in Europe and the United States. Barbarians, he said, that all Muslims should strike with an iron fist. Says the Ayatollah, Islam has annihilated many a people to produce purity for the Muslims. And the man who embodies those principles the most in Iran, aside from the supreme leader, is a man who reports directly to the supreme leader, Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani, the man leading the charge in Tikrit. This is Howard the Humongous, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make, or, want to know why? Ask how. And now, for that slimy, sneaky, sleazy, seditious, impossible to find little silver, invisible off button. I think I've got it.